Hello. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Right, let's do it properly now.
Right. Hello and welcome to this week's Football Talk podcast. I am Josh Call and next to me is...
Me, the buffoon, Owain.
Owen East, because Dave is in Vietnam. God knows what he's up to in Vietnam.
God can only know.
God only knows what he's up to. But we won't miss him. We'll get on. We'll carry on. A week of football's happened.
Yeah.
And last time...
If anything, we're better without him.
Well, we'll let you decide, actually, listeners. But yeah, last time you heard our voices, we were predicting the Premier League. And since then, 2 rounds of Premier League matches have happened. And it's all bingo. But before we get to this week's football, we'll cover some news items in the week. News. I feel like one of the big bits of news was obviously a bit of major silverware was on offer. The Super Cup, everybody's favourite Super Cup, is revered. Everybody really searches hopes and wins for it, and this time
It's
Liverpool.
Good. Yeah, it's a weird distraction, isn't it? The Super Cup it comes at I suppose because it's we start quite a long time before most of the other European leagues, so it sort of happens after the first week. For other European leagues, it's like the Community Shield, Charity Shield.
Yeah, and I think even in England, we regard the Community Shield as a second-rate competition, but I think it's much more highly regarded in other European countries. So maybe the Super Cup isn't...
Is it really?
Yeah, maybe the Super Cup isn't as ironically named for other countries.
Yeah.
They're like, this is
something
big stuff.
But
But
for us, it's like, it's a pre-season friendly that happens after the first week of fixtures.
yeah, but it was... Liverpool came out on top. It was, again, an even match. Obviously, Frank Lampard has not got off to the best start as Chelsea manager. We'll cover, obviously, the this week's match against Leicester, but yeah, it didn't quite go to plan for him. Poor old Tammy Abraham taking that final penalty. Steps up, is the kind of the main man, steps up for that last penalty, and none other than Adrian,
West Ham legend,
illegally saves it.
Yeah, I mean, if you go with the
Rules.
if you take the rules that if you come off the line before the ball's struck, it has to be retaken, he did. So by the VAR ruining everything,
Whoa,
to do with,
whoa,
certainly to do with penalties, it should have been retaken. But we can get onto the VAR stuff later because I can talk about
just
that
quickly
all night.
on penalties though. I'm never a big fan of a retaken penalty. I'm like, there's so many things that they now like with a penalty normal time. It's like, okay, you've got encroachment, you've got encroachment both ways. The keeper encroaching towards the ball and players encroaching towards the ball. The stuttering. It's just like I don't know. There's a little bit of advantage to keep games. And obviously, I think more of the rule is don't get too close. They don't mind them getting a little bit close, so they don't want them rushing out.
Because I think it's almost impossible to dive properly without taking a forward step.
We'll take one step behind the line. Then.
But they have to have both feet on the line. It's not. They can't have 1 foot. They have to be on the line. It's not behind the line. It's ridiculous.
Clown shoes for goalkeepers.
Yeah,
Krusty the Clown.
yeah.
Or Sideshow Bob, wouldn't it? Because Krusty has actually got big feet. Yeah. Sideshow Bob had small feet, which is how we got found out that he was being Krusty in that episode.
Who Framed Krusty? Yeah. Niche Simpsons reference. We're not even 2 minutes in. Yeah. Excellent.
Love a Simpsons reference. Right.
Dave will be loving that as well.
Yeah. Maybe that's been up to in Vietnam. What? Watching Simpsons.
Yeah, that's what you do. You go to Vietnam just to watch telly.
Yeah. Super Cup, trophy, Liverpool, tick, Adrian...
Big hero gets injured by his own fan.
Yes,
running
lovely.
Onto the pitch. What a moron.
Yeah, I mean...
because it was a Liverpool fan that threw the beach ball on, wasn't it? When Pellegrino got disposed of the beach ball. They had to remove the image of him from all the things because people getting so much hate mail, finding out who it was. Do you think, had Adrian's injury been a bit more severe, would they...
if he'd been done to Alisson, maybe. But
they don't care much about it. But yeah, what an idiot coming in, falling over, 2-footing Adrian.
Has anyone ever asked why did he bring a beach ball into a football match in Sunderland?
Well, you've got to cheer yourself up somehow in Sunderland, don't you?
I doubt many beach balls get sold in Sunderland. They've got lovely beaches you've seen in the Sunderland Till I Die documentary, but it's not sunny often. And obviously, I associate beach ball use with sun.
Or just battle it about a football ground because it's fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Okay, well done, Liverpool. Unlucky Chelsea. Bit of silverware. So, also in the news, we have a Chelsea legend, an Arsenal legend, a LA Galaxy, a Roma, a Derby legend has retired from the game of football. Ashley Cole.
Ashley Cole's gone, yeah.
best left back of our generation.
English left back.
You wouldn't have put him in as the best left back in the world at one point.
It's
hard. I always think it's hard with English players.
It's difficult because
especially as our golden generation, and they all flopped in kind of international terms.
Do you not think Roberto Carlos was a better left back?
It didn't fully overlap. I mean, Ashley Cole had his own time, didn't he? But he was just not in Carlos' shadow.
In our lifetime.
Yeah, sorry.
We changed the parameters.
Oh, right.
Do you mean during Ashley Cole's playing career?
Yeah, well, at any point in his career,
be more specific with your
at
questions.
any point in Ashley Cole's career, was he the best left back in the world?
I think possibly yes. There was a point.
All right, sit on that fence. Okay.
I think when he was at Chelsea, I think there was a point where he could probably be argued to be the best.
Yeah. Tell you what, he's not very good at pundit. Saw him yesterday.
Is he not?
Chelsea Leicester.
He never strikes me as someone who's particularly eloquent.
No, he called Ben Chilwell Cresswell.
Amazing.
Kept looking at his notes. Obviously, he was in his infancy, but I didn't exactly think. Which is why he's going to coaching, because he's realised he's shit as a pundit.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I suppose Paul Merson's made a career out of punditry and he doesn't get anyone's name right. But if you're a footballer, no other footballers' names. That's not difficult, is it?
No, it's not even any tactical insight. It's
there's a difference between Cresswell and Chilwell.
Yeah, if you're hosting a podcast, know how to say Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, Dave. I said that badly on purpose in case everyone thinks I got it wrong by accident.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't be able to say it.
No. So, well done to Ashley Cole. Lots of caps, lots of for England, lots of trophies for Chelsea.
Sort of a mixed bag with Ashley Cole, isn't it? Because he was a bit of a bellend that time when the referee was trying to tell him off and he was being very rude. Do you remember? And it introduced they had to change, they sort of adapt the refereeing rules because he just refused to turn around, didn't he? Do you remember that?
Oh, I don't remember that, no.
The referee was trying to talk to him and he just refused to turn around. He said to the ref, "You've got my number, book me." And the ref was...
Ooh. It's for little victories, isn't it, Ashley?
Yeah.
Don't turn around.
As a teacher, I would have gone ballistic at that.
Yeah.
Really petulant I would have been. Would not have let the game start until he turned around. I'd be like, "You're holding everybody else up, aren't you?
It's not just your time."
It's not just your time. You're ruining not just for yourself, but for everyone.
I mean, you see John Terry saying, "Ashley, turn round." Yeah,
it's my ball. I'm going home.
Speaking of John Terry, he is assistant manager at Aston Villa.
Yeah, but clearly a Chelsea fan.
Clearly, I mean, overtly a Chelsea fan. And I wonder how Aston Villa, if there's any Aston Villa fans listening, how do you feel about your assistant manager so blatantly going, "Best of luck to Chelsea. I'm going to go and watch the Chelsea match, post pictures of him." I mean, he's obviously a Chelsea fan. There's no getting around that. But whilst Aston Villa in the Premier League, maybe a bit more subtle about it. Just shut up about it. I don't know. I just feel it a bit offensive, and maybe not fully. I mean, I'm not.
So does it border on being slightly disrespectful to Aston Villa?
Yeah, a little bit disrespectful. That's it. Because he's employed by them, and they're not a direct rival. Obviously, they should be up ends of the league, but they're a rival in the sense that there's only other 19 clubs that are their rivals in that league. And I just think, just stop posting photos of you at Stamford Bridge wearing a really bad jumper and a flat cap.
I don't mind you being at the game, but just wear better clothes.
Yeah,
the beige V-necked sweatshirt is
Ben Sherman jumper, although probably 10 times the price. But yeah, man, that's slightly news in the week. Celtic can't compete with the Romanians and have crashed out of the Champions League.
Yeah, was it Cluj?
Yes, Cluj.
Clunge,
yeah, they were knee deep. They couldn't cope. Neil Lennon out of his depth. And that's season over, Celtic. I mean, they should have domestic stuff wrapped up, unless Steven Gerrard.
They don't even go to Europa.
Yeah, I think they can go to Europa now. Yeah,
more of a make them Europa League look.
Well, they are a Europa League side at best.
Yeah, I think so.
Previously, they've obviously done okay in.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of argument, isn't there, about they wouldn't be able to compete in the English league, they wouldn't be able to compete in the Premier League, but I think they definitely wouldn't be able to just be dropped in and compete. But they would, if they arrived into the English divisions, they'd definitely end up in the Premier League because the fan base is so strong. And
they just haven't got the money to go with it.
Yeah, they just Scottish football doesn't generate.
You see how much coin Fulham dropped previously, and how much Aston Villa dropped. Like if you give that to people would much rather play for Celtic than Fulham. Maybe not Villa. Villa have a decent standing, but yeah, they would get quality player in. But
that's their season done, isn't it? Like, they'll probably walk the league as they have done previously. I think, I don't know, Neil Lennon, you said Neil Lennon's out of his depth. I think it's almost like sort of not worth going, not worth managing, and like when you go to Celtic, it's like meh. It's not doing much, is it? Like
no, especially now there's no European challenge.
yeah,
And the thing is, it's not as though Celtic didn't know what they're getting. He's tried and in fact not failed, but tried and not been a Brendan Rodgers at Celtic before, and they got him back. It seems very similar to how the Scottish FA appoint their managers. It seems like it lacks imagination.
Yeah, that's it.
But one thing that has happened since Dave has been out of Singapore is that there's been an advert released.
Oh man, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Dave, I don't know if you were watching over the adverts and you were somewhat of Ofcom for Singapore adverts, but since you've been gone, there's been one which...
It's a humdinger.
It's a humdinger. It stars none other than the second best player in the world, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And, well, in case you haven't seen it, I'm just going to play a brief clip of it just to see what you think of this.
I'm going to put it in context. He's just taken and scored a classic Cristiano Ronaldo free kick, but he's not greeted with rapturous applause as he would normally be. Instead, it's almost silence and then a very curious noise, of which he is now going to repeat the noise in what I can describe as the most ridiculous way possible.
Shopee. Go Shopee, beep, 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 buy everything, ding, 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 on 9999999. Super Shopping Day.
Shopee 99 Super Shopping Day with 10% cash back.
Buy everything at Shopee.
So there's an interesting Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonation at the end there. Buy everything at Shopee.
Yeah, I didn't realise Cristiano Ronaldo had a bang to the head. But yeah, I mean, how anyone persuaded him, what contract forced him down that route?
They're not paying him vast amounts. That's a pre-arranged contract that he's picked up somewhere to advertise Shopee.
A little bit Baby Shark. I don't know if you've heard of Baby Shark. It's a bit of an earworm. It'll stay in there, but it's definitely a bit of a rip-off of Baby Shark.
There's definitely Baby Shark rocking in there, isn't there?
But Dave, let us know about the Shopee product and.
Is Shopee, because it said 10% off everything. Is it a shopping centre or just a shop, or is it just like an online store? Dave, we need answers.
Yeah.
Or anyone else listening from that area. What the hell was that all about?
You wouldn't catch Messi doing that. Best player in the world, wouldn't catch him doing that. But
would catch him dodging taxes.
There's a lot of Spanish players do. Spanish La Liga players. Final thing of news, we have the transfer window still open in the rest of Europe, which is a bit annoying.
It's annoying for English clubs. I saw, was it the Atletico boss?
Diego Simeone?
I think it was him saying he feels like the window should shut before the season starts.
That's the ideal. I mean, ideal is that everything shuts before the season starts for all European clubs. I mean, you still have some, because it's UEFA can control that somewhat. Then the next one would be that English clubs move back to after the season, so we all marry up if they have more power than us. Spanish, French, German go, no, we're not moving. We're like, well, okay, we'll join you. Because you have a situation here, we have Paul Pogba, Christian Eriksen, maybe even someone like Wilfried Zaha, could all potentially be bought still, and there's all that disruption, and we're in a weaker position. There's often Champions League sides now which they'll be competing in the same competition with Champions League, but they're in different transfer windows, and they can strengthen themselves and later on into the competition, as it were, because I mean it's going to be like 3 weeks later, and it's annoying. But so far there's not really been much going on. It seems as soon as the Premier League window shut, the drama shut with it, but obviously we've still got a couple of weeks till it closes in Europe. But obviously Coutinho is the big one. He's gone to Bayern. A lot of loans. It seems like there's a lot of maybe contractual things that are difficult to.
Yeah, I think I agree. Agreeing the money as well. I think it's proving a big problem because obviously you get clubs in a position where they think, well, I don't have. Look at Harry Maguire. I think like, oh, he's never worth 80 million. No, of course he's not worth 80 million, but Leicester didn't want to sell him, and Man United really wanted him, so the price inflates like enormously.
Oh, that's my big hate when people go, oh, what is he? Is he worth 3 times that price? No,
he's not. It's because it's supply and demand. It's the basic principles of business. If you want something bad enough, you'll pay for it, and that's how inflation works. Like, yes, they got 80 million, and then they tried to get Nathan Ake, didn't they? And Bournemouth went, well, you give us 75 million. Oh, no way he's worth that. No, he's not worth that. But Bournemouth don't want to sell him, and Leicester need to replace Harry Maguire. So obviously they're going to charge loads of money. They know they've got money. They're going to charge it for it. It's all a bit mental, really, transfer fees now, and I think that's what causes, certainly for certainly from Tottenham's perspective, it's what causes the biggest hold up in your transfer dealings because Daniel Levy is just not a man who's going to go, yeah, we'll pay that. He says, no, we'll loan him and then maybe buy him a bit later.
I did like that loan, though, because that loan fee goes straight to Betis. So PSG had a sell-on fee. If we pay a large sum up front for the loan, that doesn't go towards the sell-on clause. So if we say he's worth 60 million, we pay 30 million as loan, 30 million as a transfer. Only 20% of the secondary 30 million goes to PSG, rather than 20%
Which is
of
a
the
much better deal
60
for
million.
Betis,
Yeah,
as well as for you.
yeah. As long as you have the obligation there to buy, and it's all sorted.
Is it an obligation to buy, or is it an option?
No, I think it's an obligation.
Okay, that's fair.
Shall I say, yeah.
But yeah, on this transfer window, I did see that. I think it was Inter Milan who might be interested in taking Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah, they've already got Lukaku.
Yeah, do they need another overpaid but low-performing player on their side?
From Man United, yeah.
Not sure. I mean, Alexis Sanchez could do quite well in Italy.
Yeah, he did well in the Copa America. He did a lot better, and he obviously has already played in Serie A for Udinese. I think he just definitely needs to change. Doesn't seem
he
like
needs to go, doesn't he? Just to go. It's the wage that might cause a bit of a stumbling block.
Yeah, obviously, we're recording this on the Monday night when United are set to play. But I imagine they would go with Daniel. Yeah, they'd probably go with Daniel James if they were to start a winger rather than Alexis Sanchez, because that's where the future lies. I don't think they want to play him. I don't think Solskjaer has any faith in him, and I think I foresee him going because
I don't I don't think he's gonna do it. I don't think Solskjaer sees a lot in him, so I think
Right, shall we leave the news there and we'll go into the quiz? And I mean, if you listened, I've got a theme tune for the quiz now.
Go on.
Ooh la 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 la. Ooh la 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 la. Ooh la 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 la. It's quizzing time. Yeah. And
what you didn't see there was Josh does a little dance as he sings that song.
Yeah. You can't help it. I imagine everyone who listens to that's a little dance. And if you're wondering what that song was, Owen, who's the artist and title I've referenced there? Do you know?
Isn't it? It's El Capitan
by
the people that did Heaven Is a Half Pipe.
Heaven Is a Half
Pipe.
OPM? OPM, he gets it. 2 for 2.
Was
well done. That was the quiz. Yeah.
Right.
No, for the quiz, I want you to think about Wayne Rooney.
Oh, lovely potatoes.
Yes. And in particular, managers that have managed Wayne Rooney at club level.
Managers at club level?
So, to complete the answer, rather than the bit part I've given you so far, can you give me a list of all the managers that Wayne Rooney has played under at club level?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so we obviously have his career at Everton, Man United, Everton, DC United.
I mean, that's going to be a tricky one.
Yeah, I mean...
You've got big knowledge of the American League.
No, and then obviously we have his controversial move to Derby, which he hasn't played under him yet, so you have to name Philip Cocu if it's going to be him.
Yeah, because he's not moving until January, is he?
No, and it's also... I mean, your thoughts on in case you know, Wayne Rooney's obviously assigned for Derby as a player coach. The coach element key because he doesn't have to be declared under financial fair play.
So they can pay him his £100,000 wages, and the betting company that they sponsor them pay the majority of it.
Yes, and
he's
wearing the number
32 for 32
betting company. And I mean, there's been a bit of an outrage for this, but I think the worst bit of it, I mean, I'm not actually that against it because a company, as an accountant myself, I know that company generates revenue and may incur expenditure. Their advertising revenue may just well go into this big pot, and therefore expenditure just isn't allocated against it. To say that the betting company has paid for Wayne Rooney, it's like, well, it could just inadvertently they'll pay for wages anyway. So it's not like it's the fact that it's so overtly been done with his number and everything like that.
I mean, it just.
I think for me, but just the finish point is that the real tarnish is going to be a bit on Wayne Rooney here. That he's let himself be part of this. He's going to look back and go, oh, "That's a bit cheap."
Yeah, he's not a man. He's not a chap that's had a career with like the cleaners of integrity, is it? But yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sit right with me. But then I'm not very comfortable with the whole betting and football situation. I think that will go the same way as cigarette branding did with F1. And be banned because I just think
and alcohol as well. Yeah, I mean it's about half the clubs in the league have betting companies you've never heard of.
Yeah, and it's dangerous. I think. Yeah. Right. So Joe, I've been writing a list.
Okay. You've been checking it twice?
Yeah.
All right.
Moyes.
David Moyes.
But he must have done it. Did he do it twice?
Yes, he was going to be his manager at Everton and manager at Man
Then
United.
Ferguson, because Ferguson bought him.
Yes.
And then Louis Van Gaal.
Yes.
And then I guess at Everton, was it Sam Allardyce that took him back?
Oh, Sam Allardyce would have been there, I reckon. But yeah.
Do you not know the answers?
Well, yeah, I do know the answers. They're just here, but because you're sat right in front of me, I'll wait till you've got a lot more down the line.
I can shut my eyes.
You shut your eyes.
Can you give me, as a sort of, because I'm a bit of a noob. Can you give me how many there are in total? So I'm not just sort of like randomly thinking. I won't look.
So there are 10.
10.
But as you know, David Moyes has been twice.
So there's 9 with Moyes twice.
Yes.
Later.
Yes, and
Okay.
yes, Sam Allardyce did bring him back to Everton.
Cool. Lovely. Right. Well, there's no chance I'm going to get. Because is he still at DC United?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can tell you that is Ben Olsen. I know you were going to say it, but Ben
yeah.
Olsen was his DC United manager.
Big Benny Olsen.
Yeah, so he's got... To give you a little more of structure to this, so Everton first in, one manager, David Moyes, done.
Mm-hmm.
Man United, Sir Alex, correct. David Moyes, correct. And then you're missing one. Then it's Louis Van Gaal, you mentioned. Then you're missing one.
Oh, okay. Well, Mourinho's got to be one. Isn't he?
Yes, so you're missing just one Man United manager now. Don't give it all away yet. And then you correct when he joined Everton, it was Sam Allardyce. Then there's 2 more managers after that.
Yeah, it was one.
Oh, don't. We'll leave that ticking along in your brain for the remainder of the podcast.
Doesn't do much.
Well, I'll be talking through.
Was Garcia one?
No.
No, I'm trying to think of the guy.
Well, we'll move on.
All right, we'll move on. I'm not gonna do. I think that extra United manager.
We'll move on and we'll cover this week's. Oh, actually, before we do that, I just wanted to quickly mention our Super Six that we're playing.
Oh yeah, you're doing really well. That's why you want to mention it, isn't
Do
it?
you know what? That might have a link there. Yeah. So
I totally forgot about it first week. Did it about 2 minutes before the first game.
Oh, is that your excuse? Is it?
Yeah, I did really badly.
So we set up a Sky Sports Super 6 League where you have to correctly predict, well, ideally the correct scoreline, if not the result, and you get points for your 6 predictions. And so let's just have who's top of the league. Just go all the way to the top there. Josh Cool. Josh Cool is top of the league, and I mean, there's obviously second place is Tom Hennigan, Siobhan Cayley, Derek Murphy, Cardboard Stevenson.
Never heard of him.
Now. Who is?
I'm not last.
You're not last.
Which is frankly a miracle.
Yeah, you're penultimate. Yeah, but last position is Cultured Left Foot. Now, also known as David Nichols, also AKA.
Why is he not using his real name?
That is his real name. He changed it to Deepole.
That's why he's in Vietnam.
That's why he went to Vietnam. Yeah. To get more culture in his left foot. Yes, Dave, you are propping up the table. So you're a mere 19 points behind me.
I've only got 8 points, which I think is bad, isn't it?
I'd say so, yeah. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty bad. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about the reviews this week. So we had a second round of Premier League football. And it all started...
I'm really glad the Premier League's back.
Yes, I feel we were somewhat making do with football during the summer.
Yeah, I mean, the Women's World Cup was fine, but... Yeah, it's not the Premier League.
No, it's not Premier League, and it's back. Back with a bang.
Woo!
On our TVs, on cameras, on VAR cameras, on screens in the stadium. And we started with Arsenal versus Burnley this weekend, the early kick-off on a Saturday. And in the Lee Dixon derby, this was. Lee Dixon started his career at Burnley, I think.
Is that what it's been billed as, the Lee Dixon?
Yeah, that's what Sky
big
Sports
time.
are all promoting it as.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Yeah, Lee Dixon was there in a half and half shirt, half and half scarf.
Yeah. Half and half face paint.
Yeah, and a really weird accent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of, Cockney Northerner.
Cockney Northerner, yeah. A pretty even match overall. I watched it, and when the lineups came out, I thought, God, this Arsenal team doesn't look very good. They looked like they're very attacking, very little to defend, and I thought, you know what? Burnley might cause some trouble. Then I remembered that Burnley have an awful record against Arsenal.
Yeah, they're really poor.
Dyche has lost all of his matches against Arsenal in the Premier League, and Arsenal have 2 of the best strikers in the league, and that's basically the difference. The
it was.
The XG was pretty even, 1.3 apiece, but it was 2-1, and
it was. I thought because the first goal,
Lacazette.
I thought it was poor goalkeeping. And poor defending, because you don't let a guy turn with his back to goal and then put it through the keeper's leg.
Well, Lacazette is kind of almost become a little bit famous for that in the English league. Like tight spaces, little turn. And obviously, he's good at it.
Yeah.
It's like you can't ultimately, like, you know, stopping Robin getting to his left foot. Sometimes it's difficult, but especially in the manner he did it, he was falling and then it was through Pope's legs. Yeah, it wasn't great for him, but no, he's a good finish. But Burnley brought themselves back into it a little bit. But I
put Barnes in my fantasy team. Trade him out.
I wonder why he hasn't got any more games for Austria, because he is. Yeah. Ashley Barnes, yeah. He's got, I think maybe an Austrian grandparent.
Has he?
And obviously, he plays for a decent Premier League side. He scores a decent amount of goals, and he's got one cap for the under-20s. Maybe, I mean, I can't imagine he's Mr. Culture and has really assimilated himself with the Austrians, but
Under-20s.
Yeah, you'd have thought he'd have got a bit more of a look in for the Australian national team, but he's a good player.
I think he's. Yeah, I think
his goals last week against Southampton, both technically really good goals. Yeah. But no, I mean, Aubameyang comes through and scores.
Aubameyang's a quality outfit, isn't he? He's a great player.
Yeah, but the standout player for me that match, Dennis Ceballos. And now I've never understood this. Like throughout this transfer window, like Spurs were linked with Ceballos, and there was apparently no option to buy.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I don't care.
Just have him on loan.
I mean, if for Arsenal's purpose, right? Say he looked really good in that game. Obviously, one game it might be different.
He did look something
if
really
he
special.
Pushes them up and say he is key in their run this season, gets them to the Champions League. He's had an influence that season. You might buy a player and sell him for one season. Yeah. He's had an influence. So what? There is an option to buy. There may not be an option to buy, but I don't think there was an option to buy with Tielemans for Leicester. But he had a good season.
And then they wanted to
with
buy
half season, and they wanted to buy him. So I think it's a bit short-sighted, because if he really enjoys his football there, and you never know what's going to happen with a parent, especially as a parent club as Real Madrid. At the moment, Zidane doesn't want him, but you never know. Someone might come in and really not want him, or someone might come in and really want him. You don't know that. But I think if he can offer you something this season, sometimes you can think too long-term with football. It's like short-term, you need a player for that season. If he's going to, and obviously if he doesn't try and is, he knows he's not going to be there the season after, it might be really poor. But if he's got a level head on him, he's professional, I think. And he showed to be a really good. Very, very classy. Very nice. But it puts Arsenal joint top, 2 wins from 2. Lovely. First time since 2009 they've done that.
Arsenal fans might not complain for a little while.
Next up, Liverpool, then Spurs.
Well, they might complain after that.
I'm not sure I complain about Spurs match. I reckon they should.
Do you reckon? No, I reckon I don't know. I think it'll take them on. Right. The Liverpool especially.
All right, so we move on to the Tyrone Mings derby.
Is this Isn't he left back as well?
And centre back, left centre back, yeah. And he likes to stamp on heads. So that's what I remember Tyrone Mings for. Stamps on heads.
Yeah, that wasn't nice.
The guy was it. Reading last year, and also I think he did something with Zlatan as well. So head stamper Mings. Villa threw this away themselves. They really did. So we have Tom Heaton a couple of minutes in.
What an odd thing he did.
It was almost like he was a little bit scared, wasn't it? Yeah. It's like, I'm going to come out. I'm out the 6-yard box, and woofs a little leg there.
Yeah, I didn't understand what the hell he was doing.
Why? Normally keepers go. Is it all in or not at all?
Yeah,
not
like wipe everything out.
Yeah,
not just dangle a leg.
Yeah, and sometimes they get the ball and obviously you were a former hockey keeper and you loved wiping a player out.
I didn't really worry about the ball, to be honest.
No,
just hit someone hard enough.
Yeah.
The rest will follow.
A lot of commotion there. Yeah. Exactly. Who knows where the ball?
I've only watched the player fly in the air. I've never seen the ball.
But he conceded a penalty early on, and obviously a lot of us thought he was a good buy. I mean, he's a good keeper at Burnley.
I was surprised that Burnley let him go.
Leaving themselves with Joe Hart and Nick Pope, obviously we've spoken about his error early on.
I think Nick Pope's a good goalie. Joe Hart, however, not so much.
But Tom Heaton, had his failings there. And then Douglas Luiz. You cannot dummy the ball 30 yards from your own goal in the middle of a pitch without a shout from a player. And even then, you'd be like, you know what? I'm dumming it here in a lot of congested midfield. It turns around, there is no Aston Villa player. Jack Grealish is about 10 yards ahead of where you thought he was, and a little bit of deflection from Tyrone Mings again, I think actually, and it goes in, and therefore Villa find themselves 2 goals down. Now, I actually was quite impressed with Villa. They came back into it. Again, they did really well, and John McGinn again was when he played again. He does, doesn't he? For a Scottish player as well.
Good. You hate the Scots, don't you, Josh?
Not at all. No, they've just. I mean, yeah, after Celtic bashing and John McGinn being Scottish, but no, I was actually really impressed with him.
He's an impressive player.
Yeah, and obviously recommended by Sir Alex by all accounts to be
Was he?
signed. Yeah, I mean, but they really take Sir Alex's recommendations with a pinch of salt now because he recommended David Moyes, and they're a little bit like, oh, he's Scottish. No, they're not. No, but he had a really good game against Spurs, scored a goal, and he loves taking a shot, takes a little shot on. And all action, I would be happy to see him in a kind of a Spurs. Next season when Villa get relegated.
He's a handy player to have, I think.
Yeah. But Douglas Luiz kind of redeemed himself with a lovely finish.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, curled out top corner, thronked it in.
It was it was my favourite goal from the weekend.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Really, really nice.
Yeah, I'd say beautiful. That. Yeah, but Jack Grealish is now a proud owner of the longest losing run of a player in Premier League history.
Yeah, which I think is a bit of a nonsense because he spent an entire season out of the Premier League. I feel like statistics should just reset then. Right, we haven't played them there, so...
If you go drop it... It is funny when I go, oh, they haven't faced each other in 13 years. Like, wow, what's happened?
Oh my God, they haven't been playing in the same division for that long time.
Yeah,
I think Jack Grealish, bad luck, mate, but...
Yeah, no one says before the start of the season... before the first game, Aston Villa unbeaten in the Premier League, in over a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
My good lord. Because by the same argument, Jack Grealish hasn't lost in the Premier League. Didn't lose in the Premier League once last year.
No, did very well last year in terms of Premier League defeats.
Exactly.
Yeah. But Villa find themselves in a little bit of trouble. 2 losses out of 2. I mean,
I'm reading ahead and seeing that every game this weekend has been coined by Josh a certain player derby.
Yeah.
We're moving on to the Bobby Zamora derby,
which is also known as Brighton versus West Ham.
Yeah.
And you kind of forget about Bobby Zamora his time at Brighton. I do. He was always talked about as this up and coming striker. Then Spurs signed him, fucked him right up, as we do with strikers. And then
there used to be a song about Bobby Zamora.
Is it? I've just sworn. So is it? Do you know it?
Yeah.
Are you going to sing it? Is it?
Yeah. When you're sat in Rosette and the ball hits your head, that's Zamora.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Because he was rubbish.
Yeah. Although he did score some absolute blooters as well.
Yeah, he was a sort of you're very much a 50-50 sort of player. When he hit the ball, it's either going to Rosette or bursting the back of the net. Like there's no middle ground with him really. He didn't sort of. Never were you sure he was going to score, but when he did, my God, they were great.
Oh, I've got Rosette. It's only 26 rows back.
Yeah.
Not that far, is it?
No, it's still quite far away from the goal.
I'm not sure I could kick it that far.
No. B. I might get to.
Piddle along to row B, yeah. But Bobby Zamora, Brighton versus West Ham, and I think you got away with it here.
Well, yeah, it's the first time we've not lost at the Amex Stadium since it was the Amex Stadium. We definitely got away with it. We are always dreadful against Brighton when Brighton are home. Always. It's I don't really understand what it is about them because they had a good game last weekend, but they don't pull up trees, do they, Brighton?
No.
So I don't know why a team of my biased opinion, West Ham, is getting outplayed by a team of their quality because they're not great and they look terrible against other teams.
Yeah,
but we have this ability to make average teams look superb.
If they've got that confidence against you, they can G themselves up for it. And obviously, one of our signs of the summer, Leo Trossard from the Belgian league. There's a few Belgian transfers. Obviously, we saw.
It's always a Belgian as well against us. We concede to Belgians all the time. It's like a.
I don't know why that sounded a bit like Trump. Oh, it's always a Belgian.
Yeah, I was even doing the Trump hand thing.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Weird.
Oh
God, what's happening to me? We seem to. Belgians always seem to score against us. Don't know why.
I was watching goals on Sunday with Chris Kamara. Yeah, Chris Kamara and a favourite of mine, Alex Scott. I think she's very, very talented.
Yeah, go on.
And
you were waiting for me to make some derogatory comment there, weren't you?
I thought,
No, I'm not.
This sexist pig next to me.
No, because that is literally everything I hate in football punditry.
Yes, and that's why we left the pause there, so we could highlight the issues in 400.
Not so sure.
Chris Kamara is an idiot.
Yeah, he's a buffoon.
So the first goal, the goal was disallowed for... Offside, right? Chris Kamara goes, because of the changes in the offside rules this year. It's like...
There's no changes.
Nope.
Just more accurate.
Nope, no change. The ball was played, he was offside. It went to someone else, but they didn't touch it, so it was still the first person who touched it. He was offside. There's no changes, Chris.
Yeah, it was 100% accurate.
You're on national TV spouting that rubbish.
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? People have jumped on. We'll get onto VAR in a bit later. I won't go too much into it now, but people have jumped on VAR as if it's suddenly changed all of the rules. And yes, some of the rules have changed, but VAR hasn't changed them. VAR just looks at them. And in that instance, he was offside, so it was correctly disallowed.
Yeah. I can't wait for the time when, because often you still get like headlines like disallowed goal by VAR changes the shape of the match. Like, or no,
take out the VAR bit there.
Yeah, just
disallowed goal
or
changes.
1-0.
Yeah. Or we'll talk about VAR later. Cause
okay, but obviously Graham Potter's done quite well so far.
Yeah. Now, could you? Because I think this is a very odd thing. Graham Potter is a really niche Game of Thrones reference. Graham Potter looks like the son of the Blackfish in who is this is not good. We might have to cut all this because
no editing.
Oh god,
keep going with Owen.
Yeah, right. So I can't remember the guy's name, but he's one of the characters in Game of Thrones. He looked a bit like him, and I was.
Whoa!
But I'd never.
There are so many people nodding their heads right now. Like, yeah, he looks like
this guy. He speaks the truth,
and especially as Game of Thrones is very narrow in its characters. There's only a few people you need to pick from to pick out who.
Yeah.
Graham
He's one of the Tullys, but I can't remember which one. But
oh right, yeah.
Oh yeah, fucking right, yeah. Thank you. In your face.
Yeah,
he's the one that can't fire the arrow to when that guy dies. He can't. His arrow won't hit the boat to set it on fire. And then his dad or uncle, played by another guy.
Oh, for goodness sakes!
Does it? But yeah. So anyway,
right.
Back to football, right?
Back to football because that's what we apparently know about. We'll move on to the Marco Silva derby, which is more.
I mean, I can get that
prominent as derby because it's almost become a little bit of a derby.
Now, is Marco Silva someone who managed Wayne Rooney, or am I a bit late in the day? Is it a bit?
You're a bit late there. He's a bit. Marco Silva's a bit after.
The guy beforehand.
Yeah, guy beforehand. Yeah. So Marco Silva derby, and this was an even match, but I think it's a much needed win for Everton actually. After their opening day draw, if they were to get a draw here again, the pressure would mount. So obviously, again, lots of money being spent. But I think as Everton have been okay, Watford have been. This is bad for Watford now.
Yeah, but don't worry because we play Watford next weekend, so they're bound to get 3 points.
Yeah, Watford have got West Ham, Newcastle, Arsenal, City, then Wolves in the next 5 matches. So they really need points against you or Newcastle.
That's where they pick out their points from.
Watford, I mean, their FA Cup run kind of papered over the cracks in last season. They won 1 of their last 7, which was against Huddersfield, and obviously the FA Cup run only papered over cracks until the very end, where they got absolutely humiliated by City. And obviously Watford are prone to a sacking. They don't mind a sacking.
Yeah.
Could we see Sam Allardyce at Watford?
It would be... Yes, obviously we could, because...
it's not a very Watford appointment. They love they love a kind of continental... Yeah.
Got a lot, So I hope we never see Sam Allardyce in another managerial appointment.
Do you?
Yeah, I really dislike him as a manager and as a person.
Would you not drink a pint of wine? Would you have a pint of wine?
No. My wine pint drinking days long behind me.
Yeah, I mean, I now drink pints of shandy.
Yeah,
cider shandy, being a celiac.
As do I, because I don't want a hangover.
No,
that is not a cool thing to say.
Do you want to? I actually have a hangover technique the next day to try and minimise hangover. So if I've had a big night and I haven't stuck to a shandy, this is what I do. Okay, wake up. Good start.
Yeah, great start.
Realise I feel atrocious, so I may go to the toilet and vom because get better out than in. If I don't want to stay all day feeling a bit like, bleh. So I do that. Then I will go and have some form of breakfast.
Right.
So I'm up for the day now. I'm not going back to bed.
Josh, apart from vomiting, you're naming a normal day.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I mean, for some people, maybe it's a normal day.
Takes a turn. So I will then have breakfast. I will then have a paracetamol.
1.
2, I'm feeling risky.
Jesus.
Those ones with caffeine as well. That's what you're right, but not in this situation. But they might come later on if the headache hasn't gone. Okay. So then have a bath.
Okay.
Sleep in said bath.
Right. Just going to put a disclaimer. That is, I'm sure, as a child, that you were always discouraged from sleeping in the bath because you might drown.
Yeah, but as a 6'1" adult, I'm not sure I'm going to drown in my bath.
I don't know how big your bath is.
not big enough for sleep.
But
for
it's big enough to sleep in.
Well, uncomfortably, but that kind of that warm glow of the bar. Then you wake up. You know what? I feel a bit rested. Headache's gone. Stomach's good. Let's.
You've urinated in the bath.
Yeah, of course I have. Yeah. Just as long as it's only urination in the bath. Although we're better.
Hey, cleaned.
Yeah. So that's how I cure my hangovers. Anyone else got a hangover tip?
That's it. It's cured then.
I mean, I'll then eke out the rest of the day and then feel a bit better around 9 o'clock and maybe have some food.
And then go to bed.
Yeah, then go to bed. But
even though you're saying that, it still doesn't sound great.
Well, sure. Have you got any better way of curing a hangover?
No, I haven't got any better way of curing it. Avoid drinking is my way at the moment.
Yeah, although hair of a dog is an actual...
I mean, it is, but then you just have to do it the next day.
Yeah,
then you become an alcoholic, and that's bad.
Yeah, that's how they say. Linked to football right there.
Dave is going to listen to this. Furious. What the hell are they talking about?
No, because you have a lot of pundits at the moment talking about professionalism in players, but let's not forget, most of the pundits we listen to were probably borderline alcoholics during their football.
100% drunk when they were playing.
Yeah, it's like
I mean, Paul Merson was. I mean,
yeah, it's like, how dare you talk about players' professionalism when you... Yeah. But Everton,
they kicked a goal and they won. That was good.
Bernard, bit of a...
Love the jinking run, though.
Yeah, he's never going to be top level though. He'll get those moments of flourishes, and a manager may get something out of him for a good season or bits of season, but he's never going to be top notch. And obviously now Alex Iwobi's there, who can fight him for that inconsistent winger tag.
yeah. Do all the build up, but in the final third, all goes wrong.
Yeah, but well done, Everton. Unlucky Watford, and Watford maybe a little bit of a one for relegation if they don't shape up.
They need to get something sorted soon, don't they?
The Scott Parker derby. Now
this is niche, isn't it?
This is niche because how many of you remember who Scott Parker played for Norwich?
I bet our mate Jim would know that.
Yeah, he played on. Yeah, maybe he would. James Carver, lifelong Norwich fan. Hello, Jim. Played Norwich on loan from Charlton. Made 6 league appearances there in 2000.
Nice.
So yeah,
he's not really the player we should be talking about in this game, should we?
No.
Teemu
Pukki, and I remember Dave and I talking earlier in the a few weeks back around would Pukki get to double figures? If he doesn't get to double figures in the league now, he's had an absolute stinker or a bad injury.
Yeah.
Now I did mention, I was speaking to a friend of ours earlier, but Mitrovic started last season on fire.
Yeah.
Again, promoted striker, had a good season with Championship. He got something like 4 goals in August and then went on to score 11 in total. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility, but you'd like to think that I think Norwich find themselves a lot more in a consistent position than Fulham did. Fulham had a real kind of churn of their players. Norwich kind of know where they're at, and so they should be able to perform against those sides.
I think Norwich will do pretty well this season. I don't see them being relegation candidates. I think.
Oh, I do. I think the goals will dry up for Pukki. But I think he'll just about claw him over. I think it'll be... I mean, let's not forget, Norwich had one of the worst relegations ever when they were safe, or it was in their own hands on the final day. I think they lost something like 5-0 on the last day and just completely capitulated. So they will not be happy until it's all mathematically sealed delivered.
I think they played pretty nice football last year in the Championship. And watched the Liverpool game, and obviously Liverpool were irresistible, but they had enough about them in the second half to make me think they're not afraid to go to big clubs and play. They've got a nice way of playing football. Could be enough.
Yeah. Little shout out to 2 players who Pukki has taken the mantle from. So the last Norwich player to score a hat-trick in the Premier League, Efna Koku, and the last Finnish player to score a hat-trick in the Premier League was Mikael Forsell. I liked Mikael Forsell, 2-footed. A little bit quick for Chelsea for a bit, didn't he?
Yeah. Did he come to...
No, his hat-trick was actually against Spurs.
Was it?
Yeah. Thanks for that.
No, it was it's Pukki's first goal.
Oh, the volley?
Oh.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, nice, wasn't it?
Yeah, very nice. And
I think he said afterwards even he was surprised it went in.
Tells you all you need to know. He realised he's punching. But a little note on Pukki, he could actually fire Finland to the Euros as well, because they're currently second in their group.
Oh, that'd be good. Because
of the Nations League, they're assured of a playoff, and maybe they can get...
a bit of confidence.
I mean, I don't remember them at Euros. Maybe it be the first one, not sure. Maybe Jari Litmanen had helped them there before, but yeah, it'll be first in a long time. They made sure in a long time if they get there, so hopefully he has a good season and fires them to glory.
Yeah.
We'll move on now to, I literally don't know where to start with this derby. It's,
most players that now play for Liverpool derby.
Yeah, Lallana, Lovren, Klein, Van Dijk, the Ox, Lambert, Mane, and even players have gone the other way. Yeah, so Southampton versus Liverpool, and I think Liverpool got away with it here.
Yeah, I know. See, Liverpool last season, did this a lot, which you usually associate with someone's going to be the champions. Have played poorly, got a result.
Yeah, they had a good good half hour into the start of the second half, but as Mane scored, Mane's been developed by Klopp, much like Salah has, and has become a player you thought it was going to be a flash in the pan. It was going to be just that one season, but he's just consistently scoring and scoring great goals as well.
His assist as well was really nice for this.
And he's he's a fantastic player. But so Adrian was the hero on.
I was talking to my friend about this, a Liverpool fan. He asked sort of what to expect from Adrian, and 75% of the time, I think he's a very competent goalkeeper. Like you're safe with him. In the 25% of the time, he is going to do something ridiculous, like hack someone down, kick a ball at someone so it just dribbles in. I mean, he did it in the first half.
I was about to say this wasn't an isolated incident. No, he already got chased down in his box, and the ball went out for a goal kick.
Yeah.
So if that's not the point, we think.
No, let's try that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so in case you haven't seen it, he passed the ball into Dang Ings' foot and conceded
it wasn't
the goal.
Even like it just trickled back in as well. It wasn't even like it sort of ricocheted. It just popped. And then
no, it was on the ground. It wasn't like it was. And Ings should have levelled it. He had that chance, near post chance. Didn't really get enough on the ball, and
really got a touch.
But I mean, ultimately, that's no wins from 2 for Southampton, 2 wins from 2 for Liverpool to put Liverpool joint top of Arsenal.
Yeah. I think they got away with it, like you said. But that's.
You just wonder how long they can continue with Adrian in goal. Obviously, they now play Arsenal at the weekend.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Adrian, he's probably.
You sound convincing. You sound as convincing as Adrian is.
His trouble is, having played for West Ham for a few years, he's not used to like playing the ball on the floor. He's used to just hacking it as hard as he can up the pitch. So that's going to take some training. I imagine they're doing very little in shot stopping for him, and very much of playing the ball out whilst under pressure.
One thing I've noticed, and I think it was Kepa yesterday in the Liverpool Leicester-Chelsea match. Well, some goalkeepers are good with their feet, but they're not very good at moving with the ball in possession. Like Kepa was caught so flat-footed, he had the ball, dallied on it, and then kind of got caught on his back foot. It's like if a midfielder did anything like that, you'd be like, "Are you okay? You concussed? What's happened?"
Yeah.
And it's all well and good having the ball at feet, but you need to be able to move with it a little bit. And also find the pass quickly. They can find the pass, but he dallied with it. And again, Adrian was like looking for a perfect pass. Like just
you wonder whether goalkeeping coaching is going to get into the stage where they're almost like a third centre back. Like,
we'll move on now to the City Spurs match, a veteran Chorluka derby.
And I forgot he played for City.
Yeah, he started his English career at City, and my wife always calls him the movie star because he's just a devilishly good-looking guy.
Yeah.
He's a handsome man.
I bet she calls him something else when you're not around.
Veteran Chorluka?
Yeah.
And so this, I noticed here that in the first half, Ederson was absurdly out of it. He was about 30 yards from goal, playing the ball to centre-back. So like, you taking the mick? Well, I mean, this is...
The thing is, they were all over you. So
I say they were taking the mick. Yeah, they were taking the mick. And they had 30 shots on goal, and they absolutely dominated us. But what I would say is that in this match, 30 shots, Lloris wasn't tested beyond... I think they had something like 10 shots on target. Obviously, they conceded 2. Lovely header from Sterling, because what a ball from De Bruyne.
That ball was unbelievable. Just the first time, his back's towards it, he just whips it across it. Absolutely unreal.
And then, obviously, the Aguero goal, again, is there anyone better than De Bruyne at that low cross? It's like passing across the... Oh.
It's just unbelievable. That man is, for me, he's one of the most exciting footballers to watch, De Bruyne, when he gets the ball, because you just feel like every time he's got the ball, something's going to happen.
And what I do love is also the simplicity of it.
Yeah, he's not flash.
No, there's not much flair with his play. It's just everything's done all the right stuff, so controlled. Really well. Yeah, it is beautiful to watch, and so much power as well. He drives forward with the ball, and it's good to see the injuries aren't holding him back. So
I'm hoping, I'm not a big City fan. I don't dislike them, but I'm not a big fan. But I'm really hoping that he stays fit for the whole season because it'd be really interesting to see just how well he can perform with an injury-free season. And if he does, like how much more dominant City might be with their sort of star man in midfield.
It'd be good to see City in the Champions League against a European giant. Like they've got knocked out to Spurs and Liverpool last 2 years. I want to see a City versus Barcelona in a high stakes game, or Real Madrid or a Juve. I want to see them. I want to see De Bruyne or Sterling up against the best, rather than no. I mean, you can see Spurs Liverpool versus them twice a year at least in the league, let alone cups.
There was something always. I mean, it was nice to have those 2 European finals with 2 English clubs. So there's always something slightly disappointing about watching a European game when there's 2 English clubs. And you think, I've seen this twice already.
Yeah. But obviously the match ended 2-2.
Now this is because we should probably we have to talk the shit. We can talk about the Sheffield United Palace game in about 10 seconds. It was genuinely one of the there's a Leicester game as well, isn't it? We'll come back to the VIR stuff.
Okay,
because I think it ties in nicely. Obviously, the game ended when we thought it was going to be 3-2 to City, probably the right result, and then it ended up not being 3-2 to City because of a VAR decision for a disallowed goal for the handball,
which will
correctly decided. It was a correct decision. But we'll talk about that, I think, in the VAR section because I've got quite a lot of stuff to say.
Okay, so we'll move on to the Neil Shipley derby.
Yeah, Shipley Wedgehead.
Yeah, Wedgehead. Yeah, do you know what? I had a number of players to choose from, Sheffield United Palace, because they're both good clubs. They had lots of good players. But I thought, I know you liked a little bit of Neil Shipley. You had a little bit of time with Palace, didn't you? Not as a player, but as a...
I did play for Palace for a little while. Yeah. Big leagues. His goal, actually, in the playoff final, not stop West Ham getting into the Premier League. Playoff final, probably 2004, maybe? I don't know. I'm just pulling figures out of my head. The guy in Game of Thrones. This was genuinely the worst game of football I've ever seen. No, probably not the worst game I've ever seen. Worst Premier League game I think I've ever seen.
Super Sunday, this was?
Yeah, it was
Super Sunday.
I was actually at the cricket, which had a 3-hour rain delay, so I thought, this is alright, because I'll just stream it on my phone. Got the old Sky Go app, put that on, lovely jubbly. Then I had to sit through one of the most turgid displays of football I've ever watched. First half was genuinely awful. Neither of them looked like they could play football. Like Wilfried Zaha, who was...
They're in body, but not really...
He just looked awful. Every time we got the ball, he sort of fell over his own feet. I thought, if you want to leave... There's still a chance of European clubs looking at you, but they're going to take one look at this match highlight reel and think, nope, he's not worth anywhere near that. It was dreadful.
And this showed that if Zaha's not firing, Palace aren't firing. They look like they wouldn't score. What
was their XG?
0.3.
That's it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was the same as Spurs against City, but
really?
City are a class outfit.
Yeah.
Sheffield United are a new approach side, but it's a very important win for Sheffield United. They need these points. They need these wins to stay up. You need to beat those sides around you at home. But
they have a weird formation thing, don't they? Have you seen this about the overlapping centre backs? Overlapping
centre backs. So if you look at the touch map for their outside centre backs, they're very similar to their wing backs.
They come. They right up in the final third. They're looping around. I think, who's covering the centre back? They'd have 2 defensive midfielders that just drop in.
I'm very excited to see them play against a better side.
Yeah, because I can't see that working. I've read there's what's his name that does football stats, the stats bomb thing, Adam something like that.
Ted Knutson.
Ted Knutson. No, is it Adam?
Adam Harry's football cliches.
Oh, maybe it was him. One of the two was making a hilarious thing about how centre back, not a lot of touches, not great with the ball. Like, let's be honest, centre back's not known for their sort of finesse on the ball. Yeah, overlapping, getting the ball, turning like a freight train, winning a throw on, standing ovation. So if that was done on the Sunday League, they'd be getting their name. They'd be getting full named by their rest of their teammates, but with lots of F words. And we'd say, well fucking played, you're fucking cool.
Fair, that is one of the things that will get an applause at a football match. Maybe this should be a feature. What gets applause at a football match from fans?
They shouldn't.
Like, it is... Centre backs marauding forward,
doing something stupid but managing to get a throw on, crowd go ballistic. Like, I like you say, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, when do they play a big side? Because if they try it then, and then can you imagine do that against City? Like, oh wow,
Yeah.
They're going to get absolutely shafted.
But no, well done to them, and I'm equally as worried for Palace as I am for Watford.
Yeah, and I think Roy Hodgson is a man that could...
Dear man, walk him.
Yeah, because... But I don't think...
Once he's old.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know who they could replace him with.
Ooh, Sam Adler.
Back
Again.
Yeah.
Guess who's back?
Yeah, they look like they're in trouble. They have really very poor...
Well, and you're still starting with Benteke. Yeah.
That guy's terrible.
Yeah.
Go on then, this one.
Danny Drinkwater
Yeah,
derby.
it is.
Yeah.
Danny Drinkwater.
Chelsea versus Leicester, and right.
It was the Ndidi derby, really, wasn't it?
Indeed, it was.
Nice. Yeah, you've seen that on Twitter, haven't you?
No, I came up with this thing.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, lots of people were making the Yes Indeedy reference.
Oh, I mean,
it's quite obvious.
I wouldn't say it was my best work.
Yeah, you didn't strange yourself.
No. This, I mean, you could sense the atmosphere. So Mason Mount gets his goal.
goal.
Love a little bit of Mason Mount actually. He's been nice.
Yeah, I think it's nice of him to get that that goal because he did really well last season, and everyone was thinking, well, you can do really well in the Championship, but maybe you can't do it in the Premiership. But he's started off all right.
I've seen a few too many. It sounds weird. A lot of images on social media going around as Mason Mount as a kid today.
Did you see one of him with Declan Rice?
Declan Rice, and also he shared one of him at Ashley Cole because he was obviously a youth player when Ashley Cole was at Chelsea. But no, it's nice to see him get in, and did well. He pressured Ndidi and did well to finish because he tripped and stumbled, and he just put it back across goal, and very nice. And you could sense a good atmosphere around the stadium at that point. They're like, yeah, we're going to win this now. We've played pretty well in our previous two matches. We're going to get this, and then
they just stopped playing.
Yeah, and Ndidi bullets a header in, and now. From the matches I've watched, Chelsea, I've watched 2 out of 3. I didn't catch all of the Super Cup, and they are really open. They really go for it and leave themselves open to the counter attack. They did, I mean, that's what they got punished against Man United. And if Leicester could make a decision on the counter here, they would have been punished.
Side would have punished them.
Yeah,
and against United, the Chelsea were for large parts of the game the better side. Yeah, and United just smashed them on the break.
And that's where we talk about XG a bit on this podcast. It falls down a little bit here because XG here was 1.3 for Chelsea, 1.1 for Leicester, and now that doesn't tell the full story because Leicester were through kind of like 2v3, 3v3, and better pass there. They had the potential to create those chances, and it's just somewhat fortuitous from Chelsea's perspective. They didn't create those chances, and I'm a little bit concerned if that's the way that Chelsea are going to play. They really do need to start putting away their chances and give themselves that buffer.
I still think it's strange because Sarri played Kante arguably out of position as a sort of more of a marauding midfielder, and Lampard seems to be doing the same thing, playing him much higher with Jorginho as a sort of deep line player. Yeah. I don't know why they don't do, because Leicester succeeded so well with 2 midfielders described by Ranieri as we plays Drinkwater in the middle and Kante either side of him, which I think is a lovely way of describing how incredibly good Kante is at that role. And I think if you're going to be leaving yourself open to the counter-attack like they are, playing really, really expensive football, which is great, why not put one of the best ball winners in that position to, when they are on the counter, for Kante just to run back and get the ball back for you? It seems odd that they're not trying to play like two-man midfield.
Lampard described Kante as is a waste of a player to have him sit in defensive midfield. He can do so much more. It's like do more, but is he as effective? Is it
a waste? Maybe you're wasting as a player, but as a team, it's benefiting incredibly. I don't know.
Yeah. So that kind of brings to a close all of the matches from the weekend. Obviously, United Wolves are playing as we speak.
Check the old scores.
Hopefully, it's 0-0.
I've got a couple of Wolves players on my fantasy team, so I'm hoping for goals for them.
But we'll move on now to our feature each week. This is the Wiki Files. Hit me, Owen.
Who needs the Wiki Files? Something about Wiki Files. Dave knows the rest of the words to this song.
Yes, it's the Wiki Files. In case you're a new listener, this is where we take an excerpt of a footballer's Wikipedia page, his career stats, which are found on the right of the page, a lovely little box there. And so it gives a list of the clubs that he's played for and the league appearances and league goals. And so the person guessing doesn't know the name of the player. They have to look at his career and guess who the player is. They can have additional help with the national team they played for and their position. But, Owen, you're up.
So,
if you see it, say it.
So he started at Botev Vresta.
Yeah, big club.
Big club. Big club. And then went to see SKA Sofia, so Eastern European, I'm thinking.
Yes, yeah.
And he played for Servette.
Yes, this is all in the late 90s, isn't it? As well,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he is, yeah. And then Wolfsburg.
Yeah, I guess big transfer to Germany, didn't he?
Yeah, so not very many goals for the first two clubs, but he didn't play very much. 18 and 19, 7 goals between them. But then at Servette, 77 appearances, 27 goals. So he's chipping in with goals. Wolfsburg, 116 and 28. Then he went to Atletico Madrid, played a lot.
A couple of seasons there, isn't he?
49 games, but only 3 goals. City, 59 and 9.
So we've got 3 seasons at City, probably about 20 games a season, maybe 4 goals a season.
Bolton,
yeah, 3 years at Bolton he had.
73 games for Bolton. Wow, 10 goals. Then Espanyol, 8, no goals. And then back to CSKA Sofia, 17 games and 3 goals. So he's clearly an attacking player.
Yes, he was an attacking player,
but not a striker. Well, hopefully not a striker.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, some strikers will be happy with that, but...
City players. When he went to City, that's City's 2007, so that's just of their takeover, isn't it?
That's kind of, new money.
Oh, is it Valery Bozhanov?
It's not Valery Bozhanov, but this player is Bulgarian.
Oh, okay. Right.
So I think Bozhanov, I think, had a few stints. Yeah, and he had a few stints in Italy as well. Maybe Parma and Inter.
Yeah, no, he did.
Do you want a position of a player?
Yeah, go
on. Winger, left winger. Left winger. I've got one more. So as I said, Bulgarian. I made 90 appearances for Bulgaria, scoring 19 goals. So a decent international career.
Yeah.
And I've got a final hint for you if you need it.
Okay.
I won't give it to you just yet. Have a little think. Is there anyone else that is? No, you got nothing.
No.
Oh, my hint to you. I feel like he was a trailblazer for you. This man is fast, bald, and white. I feel like if you go Owain, fits
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
Yeah, and I'm not fast.
Yeah. But in your heyday, you had a little turn of pace, didn't you?
I did. Still gets people now, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, because I'm quite fat, so they don't think I can run. And then suddenly, like, oh, I've kept up with you for a bit, but now I've fallen over.
Yeah, wheezing.
Yeah, vomiting uncontrollably. Oh, fast, bald, and white. I see. I can picture him.
Left winger.
I can't think of his name.
A real true left winger as well. Was never going to be an inverted left winger.
Just
punt it down there, whip it in.
Oh,
yeah.
What's his name?
A common surname in Bulgaria for footballers or anything to go by, because there was a Aston Villa midfielder with the same surname.
Oh, it's Petrov.
Yes.
It's not Stilian Petrov.
No, it's a very English name.
Steve.
It's Clive. It's Clive Petrov. Martin Petrov. Martin.
Oh, I'm not very good at these games.
Oh.
I thought, you know what? I was reading that thinking, I think I've got it. Oh, I think I've got it, and it wasn't him. Yeah.
I liked Martin Petrov.
He was very one-dimensional.
Yes, yeah.
Like you say, kick it, and he was fast as anything.
Yeah, he was. He had that
he had a bullet of a left foot, like he really could hit it. Yeah. No, he was good.
Yeah. I mean, as City fans or Bolton, I reckon Bolton fans will have fond memories of him because he was probably a standout player there, wasn't he? Yeah.
I wonder how many assists he got for Bolton.
Yeah, I don't really recall him. Maybe it was because Atletico really weren't the beast that they are now back then. I don't really remember him aside from that. But I think he must have been, because I knew of him before his transfer to City. It may have been a number of kind of Football Manager or kind of Pro Evo games where he must have shone.
I bet Pro Evo at that time.
Oh, the pace and Pro Evo is obviously key. And
like 2007, that's like peak Pro Evo. So just like getting the ball and smashing past people.
Just triple tapping, crossing it in. But yeah, that was the Wiki Files this week. Martin Petrov.
Valery Bozhanov. I was really impressed with myself thinking of that. Oh.
He's a bit of a brute of a player, actually, but he looked
Bozhanov,
like Bozhanov. He could have been.
He'd served time.
Yeah, it looked like he was really going to be like in some kind of organised crime gang. Bozhanov had obviously at Man City, but Parma and Fiorentina. He did the rounds. He's still playing.
Is he
still playing? Age 33.
Botev. Hang on, is that the same club as? That's the same. Is Botev? It's the same bloody club.
Wow, yeah, he has returned. So Botev Vrasta, the club that Valery Bodinov plays for, now was Martin Petrov's first club. We've gone full circle here, people.
Synergy.
But he only Valery Bodinov only made half the amount of appearances for the national team that Martin Petrov did.
He wasn't very good though, was he?
He was pretty good.
He was a striker, wasn't he? Was he a striker? Look how many goals he didn't score.
That's a weird thing to look at. Yeah. Look at the gaps in his stats. Yeah.
But when you think he'd scored 112 goals
in 428 appearances,
it's not great, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not that much more than Martin Petrov.
And he was an out-and-out winger. So yeah, I remember Bodinov not being great. They signed him with another guy, an Italian striker, didn't they?
Rolando Bianchi.
That's it. Yeah, these are big signings they made, and they weren't.
No, Rolando Bianchi was a real miss. That one, literally missed because he missed the goal all the time. But well done.
Not
good.
Really.
No, actually,
No,
not well done at all. You
it?
did really quite badly, actually.
You're kind, but
yeah, well done on
idiot.
taking part. Yeah. All right, we'll move on now to. So we've done reviews. We've started the quiz. We'll follow that after this. But we'll now look at. We sent out a poll this week and had a couple of questions from our listeners. So a poll this week, which may push for time a little bit, but we asked about VAR because it's been in the news a little bit.
It's big now, isn't it? Like this is like the media's big thing. At the moment,
yeah,
isn't
because
it?
it's obviously new this season in the Premier League. So we asked, how happy are you with the implementation of VAR so far this season in the Premier League? Options I posed were amazing. It's been great. Well, there's room for improvement. Awful. It's ruining the game. Or just shut up about it. So 11% of people thought it was amazing. So 11% of the voters were Spurs fans. 17% said shut up about it. And it's pretty even for the ones who think it's awful or just needs improvement. So 34% said there's room for improvement. So they're reasonably happy with it. They think it'd be improved. But 38%, the winner, were awful. It's ruining the game. Now, how many of those do you think VAR is awful? Or
the new rules are awful.
Yeah, how many of those were, do you reckon, impacted by the handball issue here, or
thing, isn't it?
The offside?
Because what VAR is doing is it's just looking far more forensically at the existing rules. So he's offside. He's 2 inches offside. Yeah, but he's offside. If you don't want him to be 2 inches offside, change the rule so he has to be at least half a yard offside. Change the rule. It touched his hand before the goal. It brushed his arm as the ball came down. There was no intent. It wasn't deliberate. He probably had no idea it had even happened. But the new rule is if there is a handball in any build-up, you can't
an attacking
player, you cannot award the goal. He hit his hand. It's not a goal.
Do you know what I found funny about that? Is that obviously Spurs played Man City last year in Champions League, and Llorente scored a fantastic goal off his hip. Pep Guardiola was like, well, it's brush his hand. They need to look at rules, change it. Rules changed.
And now it's bit him on the backside.
Yes, and now, suddenly, Laporte goes in, misses his head, hits his arm. Then Jesus scores it. Pep Guardiola, the rules need to be changed. It's like, what do you want? Seriously, what do you want?
Like, settle on one side. The thing is, lots of people whinge about VAR there, and it's not VAR's fault. VAR is just officiating due to the rule book. The rule is bad. It's a bad rule. It's a stupid rule.
It's really difficult, though, isn't it? People complain about rules, but I always it's like when I don't know. If you're complaining about something, like you're choosing a film to watch on Netflix, right, with an evening with your girlfriend, your wife, and or boyfriend, yeah, or husband. Or just love anyone.
Or PC, Josh.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm one of the most liberal people I know.
Bigot.
and they'll put forward a suggestion, and you shoot it down straight away. It's like, well, you should come back with a counter suggestion. Like,
yeah, I'm really bad at that.
Yeah. Yeah, and so it's like people going, "Oh, it's a stupid rule." It's like, well, what's the alternative? Like, I know we're not meant to be experts, and they'll go, "Oh, no, they've got people who paid loads of money for that," but it's not easy.
It's really difficult.
And like, so for example, with the handball rule, if it was then because we kind of misinterpreted it during the summer, we said it's going to be ridiculous next year because players are going to just kick it at the defending team's hands in the box, and it's going to be penalties all the time. Well, that's not the case because it's not the same rule for defenders and attackers. That's cleared that bit up. That for me would be more of a shit show.
Yeah, if it was like any handball in the area is going to be like that, yeah, you just punt it at their hand and that would be it. So it's difficult, isn't it? Because there's the fine line between it's just really difficult, isn't it? There's a fine line between leave it to the referee's discretion, but that's fine up until the point where the referee's discretion doesn't work in your favour, and then suddenly everyone's screaming for technology. So it's really difficult because you're not going to please all fans all the time, and we're 2 weeks into it being in operation. We're just got to get used to it.
Yeah.
What it's doing is creating more or the same amount of outrage as if a referee was just doing it on his own. Like, we're complaining about the VAR as much as we would be complaining about the linesman not seeing that it was offside. Well, what's he doing? He's not even seen it.
I mean, I suppose somewhat of a benefit is taking the heat off the individual as a referee. Like, it's just now this mythical
Faceless
VAR.
man. Yeah. I think. And there's the offsides the same. There has been some occasions where I think. I'm not sure about the Adrian penalty save, like if he was off the line, whether that should be retaken. Is there inconsistencies within when the decisions are made? Like, it is with a biased view, I think, but City's 5th goal, and I appreciate it was their 5th goal against West Ham last week, there was clearly a foul against Sebastian Haller in the build-up. He was fouled and the ball was taken from him, and then they went on and scored. And you would think that a foul in the build-up to a goal should be looked at. It wasn't. Is that a big club bias? There's a lot of people saying that's still going to be the case.
Well, that's the thing you have here. You have some things are clear-cut. So, offside, you have clear-cut line.
Mm-hmm.
With handball, any touch of attacking player, handball. So there are two situations. Like, so, for example, when also the complaint with the Spurs City match is that there's a foul to Rodrigo in the penalty box at a corner. It's like, well, then you've got a different issue with VAR. That's not a clear-cut thing. That is then a referee's interpretation of it, and that's got to be clear and obvious mistake. And so it's that was a clumsy foul, and I think he's probably 50-50 then being given that, but it's not a clear and obvious error from
no. The referees, can the referees run over to the little screen and have a look? Is that...
We don't have the screens in the Premier League. I think they've chosen not to, I think.
Have they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think, go back to the poll, I think room for improvement. It definitely needs refining. There needs to be more information given out to fans about it, I think, because I think a lot of the people are just spouting off about it. Like, lots of people blaming VAR for that rule, but actually I don't know how many people knew that the handball rule had changed so that it was like that.
Oh, so many people didn't know.
So I think
that if we did a poll again in 6 months' time and no rules changed and it was exactly the same system, I think you'd see more people in favour because they just get used to it.
Yeah, I think it is.
They would just become accepted. That is a handball rule. That is offside rule. It's like, well, the offside rule, okay, it's just, well, it's the same for ball over the line. Hold the ball over the line. It's like, it's just you don't want grey area. If you've got grey area, you get indecision. If you have clear-cut, defined rules, yes, his earlobe can be over. So, well, you've got to draw the line somewhere. And so why not draw it before any part of the body parts pass the line of player? It's got to be that way, unfortunately.
I think that's right. It's like the encroaching rule, isn't it? Like Fabianski saved that penalty against City. But I thought it was amazing because, 1, got Fabianski in my dream team, points. 2, it's always nice when you don't let them score a penalty. But Declan Rice was in the area. So I think, that got retaken. I was going mental about it because I thought for ages that it was because Fabianski was off his line. Yeah. It wasn't that, because they're not doing that.
Yeah, and it's fair because Declan Rice was the one who then cleared it.
Yeah, so it's fair enough.
Yeah.
The players won't encroach now because they'll know if I do, there's a definite chance it'll get retaken. So yeah, I think it's a steep learning curve for everyone.
Agreed. Yeah, but those who thought it would take away all the talking points of the game.
Wrong,
very wrong.
It just creates noise. What I watched? Yeah, it was the West Ham Brighton game when they scored. We were about to kick off, and the ref then got a little message in his ear to say, "Nope, got to take that back because it was offside." So
yeah,
it definitely does can slow the game right down, which is a bit of a pity. I don't know if VAR is able to work much quicker and have be really on the ball with looking at it clearly and just quickly turn to the referee. You need to stay. No, it was a penalty. Oh, we'll go back.
The thing is that they don't want to. They don't want to revert with VAR to then get it wrong.
Yeah,
that would be a very bad thing. If VAR, it's gone to VAR to make the wrong decision. So I'd much rather spend an extra 30 seconds rather than the furore around it if VAR was wrong.
They got it wrong. That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah. But okay, we'll leave the VAR there, and then when we move on to a couple of questions, both Spurs-related questions, so I'll happily field them to Owen. No, I'll take those. So Gage Reynolds asks, What do you think is Dele Alli's best position, and how will he fit in with the midfield options we've got? So, for me, Dele Alli's best position was a couple of years back when he played just off Harry Kane. And they were dovetailing beautifully. Dele Alli was running beyond. They were linking up, assists, goals galore. It was beautiful to watch. But I almost feel like Heung-min Son's somewhat ruined that now. Heung-min Son's now developed into the real main choice as second striker, and Dele Alli's having to kind of play wherever, because Dele Alli can play kind of a bit wider as he did. He played off the left, he's played off the front, he's played a little bit more retreated in kind of a point of a diamond. He's played in central midfield. He has that ability to roam and do what he wants, and I've always thought of him as the kind of English Thomas Muller. He somewhat lacks a position, but he has a lot of ability. Mainly his off the ball running. He's got a lovely kind of flow with the ball and kind of that eye for a pass and eye for a goal. But I'm wondering now whether it's actually going to hinder him, his kind of versatility, that he's not going to be able to find that position. So,
do you think he's gone off the boil a little bit?
I think there's more injuries hampered him. He had a big season, as in the summer he had with England in the World Cup a couple of years back, and I think he struggled with he's had a few hamstring injuries, which is not good, and obviously again he's now injured. And I think before that he just had a consistent run of games and was really just racking up the minutes and getting the goals. And with the changes in positions, the change in systems, and the injuries have just kind of stuttered his game somewhat. And where does he fit in? I think he fits in. I think he's the balancing figure, to use an accountancy term. He will go in.
Love it.
Where he needs to go, where we need him, and he's probably not. That's probably not best for him as a player, and he'll get criticism of that because he's somewhat arrogant. I think he's the most likeable character. When he was in the side and getting goals and assists, people were like, "Oh, okay, well, he's getting goals." Yeah. Now he's going to be doing a job for us, say in centre mid, or maybe doing a bit more running rather than kind of a bit wide, or where he needs to be. I think the stats won't flow, and people go, "Oh, look at him," and the layman won't have known that he's changed his position these times. He's flinging here and there, so I'm a little bit concerned for him individually, what will happen with him. As for the second question, what system should Spurs use this season? I quite liked our diamond, and it would seem like it would work quite well with Winks at the base and Dombele, Lo Celso, and then be it Ericsson or Ali at the top of the diamond. But it is too narrow, and we are 4-2-3-1. That is our peak. When we were playing that a few years back, and it was just peak Spurs. That is what we fit as. That is perfect for us, and it does leave Kane a little bit isolated. But I think that maybe last year it was a bit isolated, and because we haven't had the quality of midfielders around him. Now we've signed two really class midfielders who can progress the ball through midfield and get the ball to him quicker, so he's not the defence aren't on top of him so quickly. So we can get the ball to him quickly, so he's not so much isolated up the pitch as that we can isolate their defence, and get the ball to him quickly. I think he will find it when Lo Celso and Dombele are getting that side and getting the ball to him quickly, and we can get the attacking game flowing quickly. We'll find a lot better for him, and he'll really flourish with our somewhat excellent midfield in the coming season.
You're a big fan of Winks, aren't you?
I like a bit of Winks. Yeah, he needs to.
He's a deep lying playmaker.
He's very Scott Parkery. Didn't have his loan to Norwich, but
no. He's not as anti-football as Scott Parker.
Oh no, early Scott Parker.
Early Scott
Parker. Yeah, a little bit more progressive.
Not
lovely
the outside of the boot turn to slow the pace of the game.
Yeah, not the kind of the soldier of Scott Parker where he just needs to pivot around, flying challenges, but no, he's like early Scott Parker. He loves a little bit of composure on the ball, plays it all around, and he'll again benefit from being able to rather than him having to progress the ball himself.
Just a little passes
to he'll make a lot of players look a lot better having Dombele and Lo Celso on that side.
Yeah, no, it's exciting times, I suppose.
Yeah, I think so. Hopefully,
I still think you'll finish third.
I'll take it right now.
But I think, I know Jim suggested that it would be City, Liverpool, big gap, Spurs, big gap, the rest.
I personally think it'll be City, gap, Liverpool, gap, Spurs, gap, then
the rest.
Christ, splatter that against the wall like Jackson Pollock. Yeah. All right. So questions answered, apart from one.
Giggs.
A quiz question. Ryan Giggs was the answer, and the question was, who is the scummiest footballer who doesn't get enough hate?
Yeah, weird. You can sleep with your brother's wife and no one ever talks about it, isn't it? Really odd.
And John Terry just gets hate.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Ashley Cole gets hate for, what was it? turning us back to a referee you hate for.
Yeah, like, I don't hate him for that. I just people went a bit mad about it.
So the question I posed, Owen, was can you name managers that Wayne Rooney has played under at club level? We had 9 managers to name. David Moyes played twice. So, right.
Moyes twice. Ferguson, Van Gaal, Mourinho, Giggs.
Yes.
Giggs before Mourinho. I forgot about him.
So that's all of his Man United managers. That's his Everton managers. So you have 2 more Everton managers to name. Allardyce, tick. And then we have a caretaker manager before the second manager was appointed.
See, this is where I'm struggling. I don't know either of those 2.
You do definitely know. Well, you definitely know both of them. So the caretaker manager was
Stubbs.
Oh, similar, very similar. This one was a left back. Loved a penalty. Probably English left footed. Yeah, it's like a old Leighton Baines. Yeah, David Unsworth.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't have got that, but no, you're right. Well, obviously you're right. That's the answer.
Yeah,
to the question.
and the final one.
Oh,
former Southampton, former Valencia, former I don't know now current Netherlands manager.
Koeman.
Ronald Koeman.
2 out.
Not bad.
Not good though.
Who do you reckon? I think he. Somewhat harsh. I think he mentioned that Louis van Gaal was his. I can't remember the adjective he used here, but was like the best coach he worked under or something like that. It's like maybe Matt Stralex was less of a coach, more of a manager though. He wasn't like a training game manager. He was more of a motivation, tactics and match day.
An eye for signings most of the time. Yeah, I imagine Van Gaal probably was like.
Van Gaal's had a history of bringing youth players through and very much gets the system going. Players playing in a system rather than individuals, and so yeah.
Well, there you go.
There we go. Well done. That was better than your wiki file.
Yeah, very patronising that last bit of time, wasn't it?
Thank you.
Yeah, well done. You didn't totally suck. Yeah, just patting my bald head.
Yeah, I don't normally pat your bald head actually.
No, because you normally just lose teeth if you did it.
Oh, help me! I'm not going to stop recording this podcast till Owen's left to make sure I'm safe.
Yeah.
But no, that is the end of this week's podcast.
Hey.
Yeah, and what an enjoyable one it was.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
always nice. Dave's back in the country in a few weeks, isn't he?
Dave's in the country being England.
Big country, yes. Back in his country, being England.
With birth, also,
back in Singapore soon, I guess.
He's back in Singapore right now. He's set the alarm to. He's actually up and awake right now, but he's watching United Wolves. So hopefully, Dave, it's not gone too badly for
they're
you.
winning.
And Anti-Martial was
banged in. So it's very nice.
But no, that brings us into this week's podcast. Obviously, you can find us on YouTube at Football Talk, where we have all of our back catalogue. Please leave comments, leave likes, and give us a listen. We're also on Spotify at Football Talk, so you can listen through there on the go. Also on SoundCloud, but also we're on Twitter, so at Football Talk. But remember,
there's no A in football because some Burke has got that Twitter handle and tweeted since 2016.
Yeah,
there's no way of changing it.
No, but we'll be there. We'll tweet every now and then. We'll share some content, and obviously be always there to interact with our listeners. So give us a follow, send us a tweet. But until then, it's bye from Owen.
Goodbye.
And it's bye from me. Until next time. Thank you very much.